glad to see you here today. I'm Rhonda Let me introduce our speaker for today. So, Rhonda Shrader. I will share with you a short bio about our speaker so you are informed what Rhonda does, about her major a bit. So, actually, Rhonda is the executive director of the Bakery Has Entrepreneurship Program, and as well as she's the National Science Foundation's I-Corps program for the Bay Area Node. She has founded and was an early stage team member of startups in biotech, behavioral health, retail, and nonprofit. She served as a long-time mentor for UCSF's idea to IPO the course, and she's an active advisor for NASS spin-off Brain 8. So welcome our speaker. So enjoy the session.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ziana. I appreciate it. All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Rhonda, and you heard a little bit about some of my titles, some of the things that I do. But here's the most important thing. I started my first company with my professor as an undergraduate. How many of you are going to be in college either now or next year?
Next year.
Next year? Okay. All right. You too can start a company as an undergraduate. So we started this company with my professor. It went public, which means we started offering shares of stock in it. But the coolest thing is that it is still around all these years later, helping patients around the world. So entrepreneurship is a fantastic way of solving the world's problems and making an impact and keeping things around for a very long time. Who's interested in entrepreneurship? Anybody?
You all.
Yeah, are you? Okay, all right, cool. All right, excellent, yes, all right. You are my people. I love it. Okay, let's get right to it. So we're gonna talk today, how many of you have heard of Lean Startup? Anybody heard of Lean Startup method? Yeah, okay, that's no problem because it's relatively new. When I was a student, we were taught entrepreneurship. We were taught, oh, you need to make a 500-page business plan. Oh, but the thing is, as soon as you walk out the door, that's obsolete. It doesn't apply. Things change, conditions change, life changes. So about 10 years ago, we developed a new methodology called Lean Startup. It helps people to take their ideas and see if there's an opportunity to turn it into a business. So you can go faster with fewer mistakes than I did, because not all of my companies were successful. So we're going to talk a little bit about Lean Startup, this new methodology that's really taking off across the world. We're going to talk about the two parts of Lean Startup, which are customer discovery and the business model canvas. And I'm going to show some examples of how we use this with our students at UC Berkeley to try to start new companies or to take technologies and find out that they don't have a market quickly so scientists can go work on something else. You can sit, I feel badly, I don't want you to have to stand. Yeah, no problem. Okay. First, a video. All right, so let me give some background on this. I understand that here in Tashkent, people take earthquakes seriously because there was a big earthquake. We take earthquakes very seriously too at UC Berkeley. We have an earthquake fault line that runs under our football stadium. And even the slightest little earthquake can mean a lot of destruction for us. So this team at the Berkeley Seismology, that's a word that means earthquake, the science of earthquakes, they built an app to give people an early warning about earthquakes. Because sometimes even if you have 4 or 5 seconds, you can, get under cover. So they developed this app. They got 250,000 people around the world to download it. That's pretty good, huh? 250,000 people download your app? Well, the problem was that nobody wanted to pay for it. Everybody wanted it for free. So the team they came to an inflection point. They could either keep asking our government for money and giving it away for free, or they could go out and try to find customers who were willing to pay for this. So here is their journey. They used a program that I teach called National Innovation Core, but we just refer to it as I-Core. In this program, they use Lean Startup, 100 interviews. They go out and they talk to people and they try to find out, will somebody pay for this? Does somebody have a big problem so much that they will pay for our app? This is their journey when they went through this program and did 100 interviews.
Our hero, Shin-Kai Kong, has already embarked upon many journeys, but I-Core was to be his most challenging yet. He and his vision guide, Richard Allen, were certain they had struck something big. MyShake, a simple algorithm and app embedded into a smartphone that would provide early warning alerts of earthquakes as well as site-specific data on building response. In fact, they had already built it and over 250,000 people came to download it. Success was assured. They just needed to complete I-Core. But as they exited the gates of academe, the guardians of business reality smote them mightily. The instructors at I-Core burned and scathed the MyShake team with questions. Their lance of clarity shook the confidence of our hero. Thankfully, our hero met an aged mentor, Alex Whistler, who could speak the secret language of UC Berkeley and could therefore deflect the mightiest strikes. It could instead turn them into useful weapons for the use of our hero. After weeks of interviews and attempted discovery, the three wanderers were coming to a shocking conclusion. Nobody cared about earthquakes. Sure, everybody worried about them, but the risk was so remote and had to compete with other more mundane priorities. The journey appeared to be coming to an inglorious end. But then, a modeler for the international firm Risk Management Solutions appeared. She needed the MyShake data for her risk models that many insurance companies rely on. The MyShake team finally received validation. For structural engineers and other risk modeling companies realized they needed the data too. All were aware of the gaping flaws in their models of building loss. They were hungry for the site-specific data that MyShake could provide. Our team was elated. Someone actually cared. But the hero realized that in order to provide the best quality data, as well as the most robust early warnings, the distribution of the app must grow from the hundreds of thousands into the hundreds of millions. How will they reach millions? This question has led Shin-Kai to a new journey. Luckily, this journey will be powered by the new tools of customer discovery that he learned from I-Core.
So let's review. 250,000 people downloaded it. Nobody wanted to pay. But through customer discovery, they found 10 insurance companies that desperately needed the data and were willing to pay a lot of money. So that's where they started. They worked hard for 2 years. They started with those customers and then they moved out, and then 2 years later, Google acquired them. So Google acquired the company, they took the technology, they integrated it into the Android operating system. And this never would have happened if they would have continued just giving away their app for free. So it's a very good result about the power of Lean Startup to help you find paying customers. Even if it's only 10 at first, you can start there and you can build out and maybe get acquired by Google. All right, so Lean Startup, how many of you are engineers or want to be engineers or scientists? Any engineers and scientists? I was gonna ask.
We all scientists.
All?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Then you will understand the scientific method. This is why it's easier to teach this to scientists and engineers than it is to business students. Business students don't always know how to create hypotheses, how to test them, how to take evidence to say, yes, this is good, no, this is bad, oh, we need to start all over again. So essentially, Lean Startup is applying the scientific method to business. That's all it is. And in this, you make hypotheses about who you think will care about your innovation, and then you go out and test it. You make hypotheses about why they will care, then go out and test it. And we'll get to some more examples. And yay, it's the one place where you can be joyfully wrong. I know in school we're always supposed to get the correct answers, not in Lean Startup. If you are always getting the right answers, that means you're not asking tough enough questions. So you want to be wrong at least part of the time. All right, so what is a business model? That's one of those fancy words that means how will you make money? Who's gonna pay you? How much money are they gonna pay you? And this is one of the first questions you get asked as an entrepreneur. What's your business model? And you should be able to answer, if you've done Lean Startup, you should say, this is my customer, they're gonna pay me by subscription every month. So these are the things that you learn to do in Lean Startup. All right, and these are just some backgrounds. It actually does have an academic roots, but that's boring, so we won't go into that. All right, like I said at the beginning, Lean Startup has two parts, customer discovery and business model canvas. We're gonna go into customer discovery first. Why does it matter? But first, a pop quiz. Why do startups fail? What's the number one reason why startups fail?
Bad planning.
Bad planning, yep.
Laziness of people.
Lazy, ooh, I like that one. Yeah. You'd get an A in my class.
And also, they will not put their goal, like a different goal. After you start up the business, like achieve something, then what they will do? They will not know about that.
Yeah, they haven't thought about the next step. Yeah. What are some other reasons?
Not being consistent.
Say it again.
Not being consistent.
Not being consistent.
Ah, yeah. Oh, that's good too. Yep. Anybody else on this side? Yes, please.
They started using technology that wasn't used by others, but they know it will work.
Yep. That is another reason. Anybody else?
Maybe leakage of money, like funds.
Yep. They ran out of money, ran out of funds. Yeah.
Duplicate something, duplicate.
Say it again.
Duplicate something.
Ah, yeah. Create a solution that's already for a problem that's already solved.
And
yeah.
also not enough patient, like business, like works.
Yeah.
We
yeah.
should be patientable person for business.
Leaking information like know-how or their secret information.
Yep. You guys are all right. You're all right. But the number one reason more startups fail from a lack of customers than having a perfect product. So, and I'll give you some examples of this. So a lot of engineers that I work with say, we're gonna go do some customer discovery, but then we're gonna go back to the lab for 2 more years because we need to make our product perfect. That isn't always true. Sometimes you could have a not perfect product and people that have a big problem that are willing to buy it. So that's what you find out in customer discovery. But all of you were right. You gave all the right answers. This is an analysis of 100 companies that, of 100 startups that failed. And these are some of the reasons. Some that ran out of cash, bad planning. It's exactly what you guys were saying. But the majority of these, it's more about lack of customers than it is having a perfectly, technological product. And so that's the focus on Lean Startup. We want to find those customers with a big problem who are going to pay to solve it. Right? And this is one of the founders of Lean Startup. He always says there are no facts inside the building. We have our opinions when we start a company, and oh boy, do founders have many opinions, but it doesn't matter. It's what our customers think that matters. So small companies make this mistake and big companies make it too. This is someone from our campus, a very, very smart PhD who spent his life savings, literally, spent his life savings on a product to help hospitals fight infections. So he had 3 clinical trials, which are very expensive, successful clinical trials, 2 patents. So it was really top-notch technology. But his company failed because when he went out to sell this, he found that hospitals didn't have the money to pay for it. Hospitals had 9 other problems they needed to solve before infections. And so therefore he lost his life savings and 6 years of his life. However, I'm happy to tell you now, he has bounced back, he has a second idea, and he is using Lean Startup to find paying customers before he starts doing clinical trials and those things. So he's worked out the business part of it now, thank goodness. All right, anybody know what that is?
Parachute?
Close?
Sorry.
Close?
Like,
No, that's what it looks like to start with, yeah. Like, this is kind of a trick. Huh?
Satellite.
It's kind of a trick question. So this is a Google product. Google created something called Loom. And what this was supposed to do was to bring internet to remote places like deserts or places that didn't have infrastructure. So Google spent 9 years on this.
It's telescope?
Huh?
It's telescope?
No, it's internet. It was to bring internet. They wanted to fly the balloons and have internet.
It's working now?
Well, you'll find out. 9 years they spent on this, $125 million. They had all these smart Google people, but guess what? They went out of business. Why do you think they went out of business?
Lack of customers.
No, bravo. No customers. Nobody wanted to pay for it. Everybody agreed, oh, this is great technology, this is really cool, but Google never went out to test their hypothesis that governments would want to pay for this, that individuals would want to pay for this, so they ran out of business. The point is, big companies make the mistake, small companies make the mistake, but if you understand Lean Startup, you won't make the mistake. All right, so they ran out of business. How can you avoid the heartbreak? Here is another one of my favorite teams. These were undergrads. They were 19 and 20 years old. And they did our I-Core program where you do 100 interviews in 7 weeks to try to find paying customers. They didn't have a product yet. They had invented something they thought was interesting, but they wanted to go out and talk to people to see if other people thought it was interesting too. Here's their story.
Hi, I'm Pavel Yanovich, and I'm the entrepreneurial lead for Team 1050.
Hi, I'm Hannah Myers, and I'm the co-entrepreneurial lead for Team 1050.
Hi, I'm Chase Armour, and I'm the technical lead for Team 1050.
Hi, my name is Sergey and I'm the industry mentor for Team 1050.
We started off this journey thinking that pharmaceutical companies would pay us to rapidly deliver microbes that could produce drugs. The first morning in Newark, however, we had our first big realization. Companies aren't customers.
We realized our true customers were pharmaceutical chemists at these companies. So we got out of the building, strolled the streets of Newark, and talked to our customers firsthand.
But before we'd even left the East Coast, we came to the hard realization that nobody wanted microbes. They were difficult to work with, hard to purify, and our customers were chemists, not biologists.
So that wasn't fun. In fact, with the sleep deprivation from the jet lag and the red eye, we were feeling pretty bummed. But right before we left for Newark, we had a meeting that changed it all.
It was another humid afternoon in New Jersey when we met with Anna, a scientist in the biocatalysis group at Merck. She was the one to open up an entire new segment, thirsty for solutions and intrigued with pain points that actually our technology could address. It was clear for the team that it's time for people.
Having just gotten our second wind, we hopped over to Boston, excited to explore our new pivot in one of the 2 capitals of biotech.
We used the business model canvas to outlay all of our hypotheses about our new customer segment and used the insights from our customer interviews to answer them one by one. The teaching team provided critical feedback on our discoveries and forced us to use data to drive our business model and not our gut feelings.
After flying back to the West Coast, our interviews took us all around the Bay Area, from the skyscrapers of San Francisco to the the waterfronts of the peninsula, and even to the largest campus in the entire pharmaceutical industry. It was here we spoke with Richard Yu, head of process chemistry at Gilead, where we learned how important short timelines are in using technology such as ours. We also spoke with Francis Gosselin, head of process chemistry at Genentech, who elucidated major pain points with current pricing models.
In conclusion, our iCore journey has been a roller coaster ride of emotions and events, and probably the most rewarding and exciting part of our startup journey thus far. With heavily validated pain points and early evangelists at both Gilead and Genentech, who we will work with towards our eventual pilot, we are excited to say Team 1050 is a go.
Thank you, iCore! All right, so their first guess about their customers was wrong. It turns out their customers were actually chemists, not biologists, which is a very good thing to find out early on. They also found out that these chemists had such a big problem that their companies were willing to write a letter that basically said, if you build this, we will buy it and pay for it. So they didn't have a product, but they had these letters. We call them letters of intent. Yes?
I told you either I'm like doing my own startup and I need your advice.
Yeah, we're gonna have a Q&A for sure. Yeah, let's definitely talk for sure. So they had these letters of intent, and that was enough for them
Hi.
to get venture capitalists to give them money. This never happens. Venture capitalists usually give startups money when the startups start selling and they want to make their sales go faster. They didn't have a product, but they had this big problem that pharmaceutical companies with a lot of money wanted to pay for. So they raised this amount of money before they were even graduates. So again, another example of how undergraduates can start companies.
It's like in their bootcamp period they got so many money.
Pardon?
I mean their bootcamp period.
It was seven weeks that they did these 100 interviews and got the letter. And then they raised this over the next 2 years and launched their product. Yeah, I know, impressive. But they were also fearless. They, as students, they didn't have networks of people to talk to. They didn't know anyone at the biggest company called Genentech. They didn't know anyone. So they just showed up in the parking lot. And when people walked to their cars after work, they would go up to them and ask them, can we interview you? Can you introduce us to people in the company? They were very brave, but that's how they started to build their network of people to talk to. All right, so I hope I've convinced you of why customer discovery is important, and you need to talk to customers to figure out your business model, figure out who's going to pay you. Let's talk about the business model canvas. So this is a tool that the teams use to record hypotheses about different sections of the business. So, record hypotheses and results. But we start here with customers. Customers are always going to be the central focus of Lean Startup. So this is the who cares, and the value propositions, that's just a fancy word to say benefit. So who's going to care? Why are they going to care? You need to understand both as an entrepreneur, and you're usually not right the first time about either one. And this is just another way to look at the business model canvas. By starting here, you find out about desirability. You test a bunch of hypotheses to figure out, does anybody even want this? And then once you have evidence for that, you move over to feasibility, and you test hypotheses about what would you need to build this. Will you need partners? Will you need money? Will you need patents? What will you need? It's not always obvious. And then here, this is about, can you do it at a cost that is less than what you can sell it for? Okay. So who cares? Why do they care? How much do they care? This is another big Silicon Valley word, product market fit. Anytime you're talking about your startup, they'll say, what's your business model? Have you found product market fit? And what that means is, have you found evidence for who cares, why do they care, how much do they care? So see, you guys are pros now. You know all the fancy words. You could come to Silicon Valley and sound really smart. And remember that you are testing your customer, not your product. This is the number one problem we have with students that start out in the program. They want to take what they've invented and just show it. What do you think of my product? What do you think of my product? Yeah, that's not the right way to go about it. You need to ask your customer about their problems, what their pains are, and then you design a product to fix them. All right, sorry, just one more video. I love this video. This is an example of what is not a value proposition. You'll see what I mean. Here we go. Okay.
Hey, I've got a great idea for a business.
That's exciting. Tell me about it.
I've developed a chemical isomer that links to volatile organic compounds causing carbon bonds to rupture and wraps them in a nanotube coating.
Huh. That's a little confusing. Can you dumb it down for me?
Sure. What I do is I take a proprietary isomer that I developed with a picric acid wash that hollows out the carbon bonds and replaces them with a nanotube wrapping.
Okay, so I guess it's pretty technical.
Oh yeah. I've been working on this isomer for 9 years.
So what's the business idea?
To sell it,
To who?
everybody will want one,
What for?
so they can wrap their volatile organic compounds in carbon nanotubes.
I think you might need a target customer. So, for people who buy it, what's the value you are providing them?
I've developed a chemical isomer that links to volatile organic compounds causing carbon bonds to rupture and wraps them in a nanotube coating.
You've said that already. This is getting annoying. Why should anyone care about your isomer?
I spent 9 years on this.
I know that. Okay, pretend I'm an investor. How can I make money off your product?
By selling it.
You're a smart guy, but try not to think like a scientist. Think like a business person.
Okay. Value chain. Term sheet.
I have to go now and answer that.
That's not your phone.
I know.
So yeah, here's an example of a guy that just wants to talk about his product. He thinks everyone will want one. Yeah, please don't be like that guy. If you're gonna start a company, please don't be like that guy. All right, just a couple more slides and we're gonna open it up for questions. But here's the biggest thing you need to remember: customers don't care about your technology. They care about their problems and their needs because it's all about them. Oh, here is one more example that I will give you. This is one of our most famous professors at Berkeley. That is her Nobel Prize that she won for something called CRISPR. CRISPR is a technology that can be used to edit things at the genetic level. So you can go down to a single gene level. I'm trying to get her to, invent something to make me taller, but she has a lot of other things that she needs to do first. So she got a Nobel Prize. She gets a very nice parking spot at Berkeley. The rest of us have to walk very far to our cars, but she gets her own parking spot. And this was her graduate student. So Raisa had spent 5 years working on her PhD. She was using CRISPR, this very fancy technology, to make high quality oils. And Raisa, in the back of her mind, thought, okay, cosmetic companies will love my high quality CRISPR engineered oils. And we said, great, Raisa, why don't you go test that hypothesis with some customers? She did a program that we run. We run a week-long program where teams do 15 customer discovery interviews. She did her first 10 interviews, and here's what she found out. Cosmetic companies didn't care. They're like, we don't care if this is Nobel Prize technology. We like things the way they are. We don't see any benefit in using your technology. So she was crushed. She was really upset because she'd spent 5 years on her PhD. But one of the people said, I don't have a problem that you're trying to solve, but my friend has a fish farm and he wants high quality oils to feed his fish. So, okay, the next day, Raisa jumped to visit a fish farm. And she talked to the farmer, and he's like, oh yeah, I really need what you have, and I'll pay you. The next day, she had cash in her hand. She found a paying customer. So she literally pivoted from cosmetics to fish food. Sometimes it is that dramatic, but you never know unless you go talk to customers. So yeah, Raisa and her team went on to do very well in Holt Prize. Do you guys do Holt Prize here? You should look that up because Holt Prize is an international competition, which is really, really cool. Yeah, check it out. And they did really well that year. But this is just another reason to remember that customers don't care about your technology. They only care about the problems they have and that they want to solve. All right. So I'm going to skip over the rest of this since we're not actually doing this for a class. But just really quickly, when you're thinking about value propositions or benefits for your customers, they basically fall into one of 4 buckets. So it either saves money or makes money, saves time, saves lives, or makes people happy. This is just something we use to help our students craft their first value propositions to test. I'll skip over these things. The other important thing is finding out how much customers care. Is it a bug bite for them, something that's annoying, but something that they're gonna live with? Or is it a shark bite and they have to go solve the problem now? You always wanna look for problems that are shark bites because those are the things that customers are going to pay for, not things that are just a little annoying. All right. So just wrapping up on the business model canvas, finding your product market fit means understanding who cares, how much do they care, or why do they care, and then how much do they care. Is this a shark bite or a bug bite for them? Always look for shark bites. All right, I think that's it.